butter the main ingredient, and butter the next main ingredient, and butter the third ingredient. Some wine, you know, a little bit of wine, a little bit of fruit in there. Well, let's give it butter the main ingredient and butter the next main ingredient. Some wine, you know, a little bit of wine, a little bit of fruit. So excited to be here with you today, sharing this fabulous meal with you. I hope you are doing good, that you're staying safe. And thank you so much for being here again. It is another Tuesday, which means that I have another exquisite meal for you. What's in the menu? Basically, I'll be making a French butter sauce. In other terms, a beurre blanc. A beurre blanc is basically a butter white wine sauce that goes beautifully, in this particular case, over a white fish. I'm going to be serving it with buttered leeks and some broccolini. It's a typical classic French dish, very simple, but if you do find the right fish, it'll taste beautifully. I work with what I have, so I found a beautiful white fish. So let's get started, shall we? The ingredients that I'll be utilizing to make this meal is very simple. Basically, your white fish fillets that I have, they're about 6 ounces each. That I'll be basically pan searing with just butter, salt, and pepper. Very simple. Of course, some leeks, broccolini. For those who don't know what broccolini is, it's just basically a baby broccoli that I'll be blanching. Very simple, nothing to it. Again, all the flavor is going to come with the sauce, and of course, butter. Okay, and last but not least, some white wine. You definitely want to use a bottle of wine that you would drink with your meals. I'm no picky, so I kind of like all kinds of wines. But no, I just got a Chardonnay. That's what I'll be using. So let's get started, shall we? The first thing that I do want to mention is when you want to make this butter sauce, it cannot exceed over 135 degrees, 58 degrees Celsius, because the butter will basically break down, okay? And your sauce will be kind of like a watery, will have a watery consistency. First step, let's blanch our broccolini. Just a couple minutes. And then we're gonna shock them with some ice water, basically. That's what shock means. It means to stop the cooking. Butter into a pan. Pat dry your fillets, salt and pepper. You don't want to overcrowd the pan either, so they can brown nicely. Turn up the flame just a little bit, medium to high. About 4 minutes on each side. So while the fish is finishing cooking, we're gonna slice some leeks. The proper way to do so is slice them in half. You want to rinse them under water and fan them out, because dirt tends to get in between each leaf. And you definitely want to remove the green, the dark green, and just kind of keep the pale white. one more. Okay, I'm gonna rinse these and slice them up. Okay, so I'm gonna be using, it was a 4 leeks, 4 medium-sized leeks. I'm gonna finish these off, get rid of this, and show you the next process, okay? Now for the leeks, 3 tablespoons of butter. Turn up the heat. And as you can see, I set the fillets on the side. Smells absolutely divine. So now, we're just gonna cook these down. Just a little bit of salt. I would say just a tablespoon of salt. And give it a few minutes until they're nice and translucent, just like onion. So now comes the really technical part, more or less, the most important. So with 2 tablespoons of butter, we're gonna bring it back into the pot, turn up the heat again, and we're gonna add 3 ounces of shallots. We're gonna cook it till it's translucent. Just a few minutes. Turn up the heat. So these would be basically your aromatics. And this sauce, it really ties everything together. This French butter sauce, this beurre blanc sauce. Now, some wine. Three-quarters of a cup. Actually, 1 cup. And we're gonna let this reduce till about 3/4 of the way. If it's too loose, your sauce will be too thin. Just a little longer. Smells absolutely delicious. Now we're gonna incorporate some cold butter, a little bit at a time, and just start whisking. Lowering the temperature. So it's a stick of butter, stick and a half of butter that I'm using. first step that we're gonna do, grab some of our leeks, just place them in the center. There we go, not a whole lot. Next step is some broccolini. There we go. Third step, our fish. I know you can't see me. There we go. A little more leek, just a tiny, tiny bit. And of course, some sauce. Oh my gosh. And last but not least, the little buds of the broccoli. There we go. Let's give it a wipe. And there you have it. White fish with a beurre blanc sauce. Ideal would be, typically you will have a sole with this dish, but only in France I heard have the best sole. I couldn't find any here. The next best thing was halibut, sea bass, that sort of a fish. It's flaky and it's meaty. So let's eat. And of course, I cannot finish this video without me not trying this dish. It is smells absolutely crazy delicious. It's so easy, so simple. Butter, the main ingredient, and butter, the next main ingredient, and butter, the third ingredient. Some wine, you know, a little bit of wine, a little bit of fruit in there. Well, let's give it a try. We have flaky. Oh my goodness. Wow. Not just because I want to say, oh my goodness, it's delicious. This dish is super tasty. Wow. Well. Pardonnez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday for another show. It is my pleasure as always, and I will see you next Tuesday. Cheers. Butter, the main ingredient, and butter, the next main ingredient, and butter, the third ingredient. Some wine, you know, a little bit of wine, a little bit of fruit in there. Well, let's give it